I thought today would be a very good day to expose Nasser Rabadi. It seems to be the going trend, everyone loves to rag on him and say how he's dumb and needs to be exposed and he's a pajama boy and all this stuff. So I thought I would join in on the fun and really destroy Nasser with a couple of good reviews. Spoiler alert, I like Nasser, and I'm not ashamed to say it. Here's the deal. I don't care about the drama garbage. Most of the time, if people see me in a drama stream in the comments, I'm usually trying to troll or like I'm not paying attention to it hardly at all. It really has not much interest to me. So, Nasser, I like his writing. I like his personality. I think he's got a bright future in front of him, unlike a lot of people. All right, moving on to these comics. This is the first one we look at, Trixie Kane, and we also have Secret Comics presents Stardust. First of all, Trixie Kane, book 1. This is a book that will hopefully have multiple entries. It's drawn by Sean Langley, of course, written by Nasser Rabadi. First of all, the artwork, Mr. Langley, I highly approve of your art. I really enjoyed it. There's something about a black and white book, a book that's designed to be in black and white, especially for indie comics, I think. If someone's not doing the entire book themselves, if they're coloring it and all of that stuff, black and white is the way to go. I think the issue comes in when people try to expand to like a normal comic. And there was a reason why indie people back in the 80s and 90s did things in black and white. It was cheaper. It's still cheaper. Even if you're doing the art yourself, you can get something out quicker. And it's not to say color isn't good. I plan on using color. But when you have the skills that Mr. Langley does in terms of separating backgrounds from foregrounds and you spotting blacks and all of that stuff, it does work really well. And this artwork is always very discernible, very readable. The narrative flow of this story is one that I think works. Characters are moving across the panels in ways to draw your eye. All of the things that I talk about regularly here in my comic reviews. Now, that being said, I think the book is, I think last week we talked about violence in comics and how I'm not that big on super gore. This book I don't feel is like too gory, and I think the black and white art is one of the reasons for that. Like here's a very violent image, but because we have this black, it's sort of like a black and white horror movie. It's more left to the imagination, and I like that in horror. I'm not a big horror person, but I think this works very well. I don't want to spoil this whole book, but negatives. Let's talk about some negatives. Oh, first of all, before we talk about negatives, let's talk about the positive. This use of 2 colors here, it'll be just a splatter of red on this black and white, looks fantastic. Limited color used very well here to great effect, we'll say. Solid work in the art department. Only negative thing I had to say, I wanted more. It does end on a cliffhanger, but I think overall there is a satisfactory journey for the character. They do discover something. They do grow as a character, and there's a lot of characterization in here. And one thing I noticed is recently I was reading some comics, that had a lot of narration and overwritten. That's not what Nasser does here. He allows his artist to tell the story, and just look at this. Like, how many pages have we turned here where you don't have a bunch of narration boxes telling you what the character thinks or what she's feeling, that doesn't always work. It can, depending on the story, but it's not overwritten. It's not confusing. You can get right into this, and especially for an indie book, that's what you're looking for. So that when you do get these moments of narration from this character, Trixie Kane, you do feel like they are important. You do feel like you're getting to know her. So overall, very satisfied with this. Now, Stardust. This is the one I especially liked. We have the same creative team here with Nasser and Langley, and then Joey Turnage on letters and design. This one is sort of like this is Nasser's almost, if you will, like EC horror, like, you know, Tales from the Crypt or a Twilight Zone type of comic. He's got another one in the works, Secret Comics Presents, with Jason Robinson, and I really like that. I think that's pretty cool. I like the idea of shorter works, self-contained works. I think that is good for indie comics because people will get excited about the work. They're like, man, that's really good. And they'll look for your other stuff, but they also got a complete story. The art in this one, also fantastic. Really has a cool horror vibe to it. And again, a violent image here, but not so violent that not so gory that I couldn't read it or didn't want to read it as a wimpy horror person. So anyways, yeah. Then you have some shorter stuff back here. I think it's cool. It's almost like its own little anthology thing. And something that would be cool is, I don't know if Nasser's already planning this, but if he does do a comic like this, again, a shorter Secret Comics Presents, is getting some backup stories. I like the idea of backup stories. Even if you get another artist to do them, these 1 or 2 page comics are really, really cool. And they give an opportunity for people to get know other people's names. So that would be my recommendation. If people are doing a self-contained work like this, or even their other books, like, do a backup story. Even if it's something where it's like, that's where you're telling your multi-part story is in the backup story, and you have, a story with a conclusion and everything as the main story. Overall, really quite satisfied with these. Really excited to see where Nasser goes. He is always working hard, always writing, always putting stuff out. And, the bottom line is these are the 2 books that he was managing the campaigns for. And these people got them. They exist. They're printed. He managed them. He ran the campaigns. Everybody got their book. They got them shipped to them. I got these shipped, and they shipped well. I don't see any issue. And anybody that has an issue with Nasser as far as the campaigns that he's run, I have no idea what you're smoking, but it doesn't seem like it's healthy for you. So yeah, overall, I'm excited to see where Nasser goes. I'm not a big horror person. I don't watch a lot of horror films. I don't really read a lot of horror novels. I do read them from time to time if I have a specific interest in them. And with Nasser, I'm specifically interested in them because I'm seeing a writer establish himself really, really well. These are 2 of the best written comics, I think, that I've seen from some of these guys that are just putting out their books, because they're not overwritten. That's one of the things that's kind of crazy, is like, even people that have made comics in the past, like these actually feel like a narrative has happened, as opposed to just a bunch of narration and dialogue and everything. We actually feel like we see a story unfold here in a good way. So I'm very impressed. I hadn't read these till yesterday, but I'm glad I have them, because these are something I'm gonna take in what I can and hopefully learn for my own work. It doesn't say they're perfect. There's obviously work for everybody to do, but a heck of a start, really. Yeah. Tell me what you think of Nasser. Is Nasser, old Nasser, is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? I don't know. Oh man, what a terrible expose of Nasser we have here. Yeah, man, exposed as a good young writer. Man, whew. Boy, the secrets are coming out today. Whoo, boy, don't you know? Yeah, man, I don't even know what to say. What more can you say about the guy? He's been exposed. That's the bottom line. Nasser has been exposed for the type of individual he is. Someone who puts out books that he is in charge of, that he is managing the campaigns for. People get them in their hands. You could buy these from him now. Contact him now and you could buy them. And they're not that expensive.